Today I'm in Park City, Utah to drive this guy, the 2023 Cadillac Lyriq. This is my first time driving this vehicle. I have not driven it before, so this quite literally will be my first drive impressions. So without further ado, let's get right to it. Okay, so here we go. Driving the Cadillac Lyriq. We're first going to take it on this quasi
Use the
highway.
left 2 lanes to turn left onto Utah 224 South.
Yep, Utah 224 South. So we're gonna take this on the kind of this highway first with I believe it's either a 55 or a 65 mile per hour speed limit, and then we're gonna go through some twisties. So on the highway right now, going 60 miles an hour, quiet, collected, comfortable. Those would be the words I would use to describe the Lyriq. This is such a serene vehicle. It's such a well-mannered vehicle. There's quite a bit of just all kinds of refinement here, really. Again, 60 miles an hour, 55, 56. I don't hear almost anything. There's no wind noise, even though there is some wind here. I don't hear any road noise from the tires, and there is also no powertrain noise. There's no engine noise. Obviously, this is an EV. And so one of the things that takes place with an EV typically is when you take away the internal combustion engine, what you're left with is a situation where you start hearing all kinds of other things and noticing all kinds of other noises or imperfections in the vehicle. Squeaks, rattles, tire noise, wind noise. All of these things start to be amplified because they're no longer being drowned out by the engine. Well, that is not the case with the Lyriq whatsoever. In fact, this is such a quiet vehicle. I just cannot, I can't emphasize that enough. So very quiet, very serene, and the acceleration, very healthy. Very, very healthy. I can just plant this accelerator. Yeah, it shoves me back in the seat. Again, this is not a performance car. This is not a sports car. So, and this is the rear wheel drive 450e model, right? So 340 horsepower, 325 pound-feet of torque. Pretty decent numbers for a mainstream vehicle. This is not a performance vehicle. That need will be served by the much more powerful Lyriq all-wheel drive model, as well as probably several other models that will slot above it. But for what this is, which is the base model with the base powertrain, this is very good already. The cornering, again, it does it without any fuss. It just takes the corner really well. Not a lot of body roll at 50 miles an hour. We just took that kind of a long sweeper type of a corner, and it did it very, very well, I have to say. It's just such a serene and calm vehicle. I can't say it enough. And it's so quiet. I mean, I don't hear any road noise whatsoever. And the bumps, this highway doesn't really have that many of them, but there were a few just back there, and the suspension does a great job absorbing the bumps. It's not too rigid. It's not too soft. It really strikes a great balance between being, on the sporty side and being on the softer side. This is right in between that. And these mostly passive dampers, Cadillac calls these dampers passive plus because they do have a bit of a feature where they read the road and react to some things. But for the most part, these dampers are ultimately passive dampers. And they do a very, very good job at absorbing the imperfections in the road while also enabling the vehicle enabling the driver to feel connected to the vehicle and to the road. So here we are again. We're now at 45 miles an hour. I'm just going to make a little pass here. There we are. And this has plenty of get up and go to zip through traffic, to accelerate, to get onto a highway on-ramp, to accelerate through an on-ramp. Just great, really. You know, the visibility is good as well. The forward visibility is awesome. The sideward visibility out of these two front windows is good. The side visibility through the two rear windows is also good. The visibility then, however, diminishes when you start looking behind the two windows at the two rear doors. That's where you start to get into blocked, kind of a blocked vision type thing, right? A blocked visibility type thing. So first and foremost, there is a small window, kind of a vanity window, right after the rear doors, right after the window that is present on the rear doors. After that, forget about it. You are not going to see anything because there's a massive amount of a massive blind spot behind those windows. And then obviously what is after that is the rear windshield, the big rear window. So the view from the rear window into the rear window is fine, whether you're using the or when you're using rather the rear view mirror, the regular rear view mirror. Then if you flip this, you get into the rear camera mirror, which improves visibility in my opinion. It does take some time to get used to, but if you have if you spend a few weeks with this vehicle, you will probably get used to the rear camera mirror pretty quickly. That's the visibility story. And again, the visibility isn't that bad to where you can't see anything. You know, I'm talking about the visibility going out towards the rear three quarters of the vehicle. You do have the windows, the mirrors here, which you obviously should be using. So there is a bit of a few extreme use cases, I would say, where you aren't looking, where you can't see out of those windows there. But overall, I have to say the visibility is good. Okay, so now we are in the Twisties to see how the Cadillac Lyriq handles these. And right off the bat, very healthy acceleration. It is certainly plentiful. I wouldn't put it as being fast, but I think it's peppy. I think it's more than enough for most people. It does push you back in the seat a very decent amount. And it's not in any way underpowered, I'll put it that way as well. The steering, it's more or less direct. There is a bit of something that you lose as far as the feel is concerned, but it's still good. Here we go. Great acceleration. I like the noise that it makes, the sound that it plays when it accelerates. It's like a nice whirring sound. And here we are, going through these beautiful backcountry roads, mountain roads rather. The suspension is doing a great job at absorbing the bumps while still keeping me in touch with what the vehicle is doing. Gotta pop my ears. Have some elevation changes taking place here. Oh yeah, this is a very nice ride. And again, it still carries over all of these qualities of being calm and serene and collected. All the qualities that that the Lyriq has in normal, relaxed, less aggressive driving situations. They're still present and accounted for here. All right, we have a little sweeper here. Here we go. Oh, bicyclist. Okay. Very good brakes. The braking is good. The brake pedal modulation is spot on. You know, you don't have to get into the brake pedal too much to brake the vehicle for the pads to start making contact with the rotors. It's not that much. So this is just right, is what it feels like. Okay. We're going downhill now. Got a little hairpin. Let's see how it handles this hairpin. Yep. Planted. The weight is, you can feel that the weight is very low in the vehicle, that's the whole point of an EV, right? You put the batteries in the floor, below the floor, and you have a very low center of gravity. And it certainly shows and feels that way in the Lyriq. And it's a great feeling because the car just kind of, there is some push. This is a heavy car, first of all. And second of all, you know, you start, the front wheels do start to kind of slip out on you a little bit. But it's a very even push. It's a very even, gradual, and controlled push. Not to the point where you don't know where the car is going and you have no control of it and you have no idea which way it's going to slide. And so it's not understeer to the point where it's uncontrollable. I think there's a certain amount of understeer here that is pretty healthy. And I want to know, I really would like to know what happens if I were to do a kind of an understeer, like one of these. Oh yeah. Yeah, it starts to break contact with the pavement, but it's not uneven and it's not in a way that is unpredictable. It is just good. The steering is good as well. It's not totally disconnected. There is some feedback that you're getting from the wheels, so that's nice. Overall, this is a very pleasant driving experience. Here's a decent sweeper we're going to take. Here we are. Very nice. This is a very good handling vehicle, especially for the weight. This thing handles very good. Yeah. Yep, acceleration's good. Handling is good. There is some body roll, but overall the handling is good. I think, really, the braking is also good. This can be kind of a performance-oriented vehicle, or a performance vehicle, depending on how you put it. This could be characterized as one. This is just very enjoyable. Just very enjoyable, I have to say. I'm very, very pleasantly surprised here at just how enjoyable the Lyriq is to drive. Alright, we've got a sign here that says there's a nice hairpin. So let's take that and we'll call it a day. Here's the hairpin. Yeah. Very nice. This thing, if you learn to drive it, and you learn to really drive it the right way, it will play. The Lyriq is down to play. It's very, very much down to play. It puts a smile on my face. Look at me. I'm giggling. Yeah. Yeah, I actually don't want to give this back now. Overall, I have to say, the Lyriq is just a joy to drive. The cabin is very well done. Lots of good materials, high quality materials, a lot of attention to detail in the switchgear and in all of the things that the driver or the passengers will touch. The visibility is pretty good, and the way that the vehicle drives, it's calm, it's serene, it's collected when you're driving it just normally, right, when you're touring. But then when you really want to have some fun and do some spirited driving, it plays. And it handles very well, especially for the heft that it's carrying. It carries that weight very, very well. So I'm quite impressed with the Lyriq and the way it drives. I'm impressed with the interior. I really love the interior. So initial impressions, I think Cadillac really got this one right. And that is such good news, because this is Cadillac's first attempt at an EV. And it kind of really sets the tone for all of the future Cadillac EVs. And given that the future of Cadillac is EVs, well, if this is how it starts, I'm really excited to see how it will end. Because if this is the first try, then it's probably safe to say that the subsequent ones will be just as good as the Lyriq, or even better.